Right, I am delighted to say that we've got two of the stars of 2018 with us in studio now. Aaron McKenna, Stevie McKenna, you're very welcome.
Thanks very much.
Welcome home, first of all.
It's good to be back in Ireland.
2018 hasn't been bad.
Yeah, it's been a great year so far, so it has. I've had 6 pro fights and 4 of them by knockouts, and I've learned a lot in the past year, and I've really developed into a nice style, so have. And I just can't wait to see what next year holds for me, and it's going to be an exciting year ahead.
Absolutely. We'll get into the nuts and bolts of how 2018 has developed for you. Stevie as well, it's not been a bad year for you. You've signed up with Golden Boy as well, and your first professional fight coming in the new year.
Yeah, I'm hoping to make my debut in February, sometime maybe the end of February. And it's been a great year for me as well, learning a lot from Aaron as well, how he's did and how he's been doing in the ring. So it's a great experience for me. The whole year I've been out since January last year, and I've been sparring with all world champions, Vasil Lomachenko as well, who's the pound for pound #1. It's an unbelievable experience, like you wouldn't get it anywhere else in the world.
Your Twitter profile is incredible. If you just click the media tab, the amount of people, I think you're a little bit more prolific posting on Twitter than you are, Aaron.
Yeah.
We'll go through some of those pictures later on, but it's just a who's who of the boxing world and indeed of the celebrity world. Like, you mentioned that you've learned a lot from Aaron. I'm sure you've learned a lot from Stevie as well, and from your older brother, Gary. So basically there's 3 of you in the family growing up in Smithborough in County Monaghan. When did you first lace up a pair of gloves? I suppose we'll start with you first of all, Stevie, because I presume it gets younger and younger and younger the further down the chain you go in the McKenna family.
Well, I started when I was 8 years old. I used to start off in karate. My dad used to run a karate club, and we started off in that, both me and Aaron, but we didn't really like it that much, and then we said we'll go to the boxing club and try it, and then the minute we went there we fell in love with it. Like, it was just unbelievable. We loved it. Why?
What gave you a better rush than karate? What was it about boxing?
I don't know, it was just going into the ring and sparring and that. I just loved punching, like fighting people. You know, karate at the start, it was more, you didn't really get to spar with each other in it, so you got to punch people and all. So I liked it when I was younger. Like, so Aaron as well, he started with me at the same time, so both of us went down to our local club.
I'm guessing you probably didn't have an option in all of this. It was either going to be boxing or no sport at all for you.
No, at the time as well, I was doing karate.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so, but in karate, you didn't really get to hit anyone. So in boxing, you did, and we enjoyed that. So we've been training. I've been training ever since I was 6, and my dad built a boxing gym at the back of the house. So ever since we started boxing, we've been training all there, us 3, me, Gary and Stephen, just sparring with each other our whole lives nearly, and we've pushed each other on, and we're all really competitive with each other in training, especially me and Stephen now over in America. Even if it's running, we're competitive with each other, or sparring, and even in sparring, if it ever got heated, that's good, because we get razor sharp out of each other.
Shows you care as well.
Yeah.
Like, I was going to say that there must have been some sort of sibling rivalry there, but if the actual point of your sibling, or if the point of your training and everything outside of school was actually to punch each other, I actually said a sibling rivalry actually wasn't too bad, because you got rid of that. You got that energy out of the way outside of the house. Yeah,
we got rid of it in sparring, and it's good that sometimes it got heated, because it keeps ourselves on our toes, and our father would be there to make sure that it doesn't get out of control too much.
So you have a boxing gym at the back of your house that your father builds. Like, that's already a masterstroke from your father. I wonder, what did he see? Did he, like, obviously, when it comes to you being the youngest sibling, you kind of follow this chain of events, which is Stevie and Gary being pretty excellent boxers, and it was always going to fall that way. What did your father see? What did he see in Gary? Was Gary training elsewhere, or was it from the outset that he said, I want to make my 3 sons boxers?
Gary actually started a wee bit later than us. He broke his arm when he was younger, and it delayed him a wee bit in starting the boxing. But our dad, he made the gym just, I don't know what he's saying, but he thought we were going to do well at the boxing. He liked what he saw, and he just... But if it hadn't have been boxing, it would have probably been something else. If we didn't like boxing, it could have been football or...
Sure. Did you play any football?
Yeah, we played Gaelic right up until... I played right up until under-16s.
Right, okay.
Yeah, with Cleveland Football Club, and I really enjoyed it as well, but it stuck more to the boxing.
Yeah.
It was either one or the other. So I like the boxing.
And what about you, Aaron?
Yeah, same with me. I played Gaelic until I was under 14s. And then once I hit the serious age for boxing, when the championships started getting serious, I stopped playing Gaelic because I far rather enjoyed boxing, and you can make a living out of boxing too.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I'd say that living is going to get a bit sweeter over the next couple of years as well. Do you still follow the GAA? Like, obviously Monaghan had a pretty incredible year, making their first semi-final in decades, and like I do wonder if there's ever the opportunity down the line, and I hate to bring up too much of the future because you should be enjoying the process at the moment, and I'm sure you are, but the possibility of, say, Clonus on a match day turning into Clonus on a boxing match day, like say in Tiernax Park, do you dream of that sort of stuff?
Yeah, that's something I've always been dreaming of. It'd be great sometime to fight back home in St. Tiernax Park for a world title. That's the dream, and that's something I've always been looking at.
Are you guys aware of the boxing tradition in Monaghan? Obviously you're too young to remember Barry McGuigan, but obviously the name would have been transcendent. I'm sure your father would have been Barry, probably, I'm just guessing, here might have been an idol of his or anything like that. Anybody in that era, like, are you aware of the likes of McGuigan and the footprints that have been laid before you?
Oh yeah, Barry McGuigan and Kevin McBride
Sure.
came out of our club, so hopefully it'll be us next. Both of us. Barry McGuigan was great world champion as well, and Kevin McBride is also real friendly with Kevin McBride. He called out to the house there last week. He was home. Yeah, he was home for Christmas, so he's always giving us tips and pieces of advice. He's a great nice guy. So
what did he say to you?
He just gives us tips in the ring, like different way moves in the pro games, you know, different things to work on and that, and it's just good advice.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up all this sort of stuff, because it was actually just this morning we had the legendary Kilkenny hurler Tommy Welsh in studio with us, and he was talking about these little pockets around the country that have succeeded, particularly in the past when it comes to hurling, and quite often what created these little pockets of success was one household that had siblings, or a number of households in very close proximity, so the lads would go out to front garden and puck a ball around, and that would bring up their level. Like, Aaron, to what extent do you feel that having brothers that were all boxers and having that sort of competitiveness within the family helped create a similar sort of thing? And really, it's not a coincidence there's 3 boxers in the family and 2 boxers who are about to do great things, but it's actually, there's a science to that.
Yeah, and the main thing is we love boxing too, ever since we started, and in training we always push each other on, and we know what we want to achieve, and it'll be a good bit of history now too if us two can win world titles. I don't think 2 brothers have done that from Ireland, so that'd be unbelievable if 2 brothers would win world titles.
It sure would. Let's talk briefly just about the amateur game, because I know there was different circumstances that dictated at what stage as you went professional in your career. So, Stevie, you obviously went into amateurism. You didn't. Was that due to the idea of perhaps not enough funding being there from the IABA? Was it due to the fact that you just thought straight away, I'm good enough to go straight into the professional ranks, or how did it work? Stevie, if you want to tell us your story first of all in terms of senior elite ranks.
Yeah, I won the Irish Elite title in 2016, so I was in the high performance program leading up to the Tokyo Olympics, and I've decided to turn pro and see how well Aaron's doing, and I think I can do the same. So I think it's a bit of a long wait till Tokyo, and there's risks as well in case you get a cut or anything for the qualifiers. You mightn't even qualify at all, or anything can happen. So I think the pros is a lot safer at the minute, you know, smarter move.
Yeah,
me.
Did like Rio 2016 and what happened to Michael Conlon affect your thinking as well?
Well, yeah, that's always the thing as well, the corruption involved in it, but I think the professional boxing is much better at the moment.
So I think you were based in Dublin for a while, and you were still up in Monaghan, so it would have been a case of you moving down to Dublin to pursue an amateur career at senior level. So what was your thinking behind it? Was it just that you had heard Golden Boy, you were interested, and straight away you thought to yourself, I'm not interested in the amateur ranks, no matter how good it could be?
Well, ever since I started anyway, I always wanted to be a professional boxer and to win a world title. And when I was 18, when I turned pro, the Olympics weren't for another 3 years, so by that time I'd have about at least 15 professional fights, so you're looking at the experience I'm getting already, and I'm still young. So for me, I never really looked at the Olympics, because if you're going to try and qualify for them, you could get a cut or anything, and that's you out, and you'd have to wait another 4 years to try and qualify again. And just look at all that pro experience you can get.
That's a very mature way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Like, from the way you speak there, am I right to assume that it matters to you that you are the youngest fighter in De La Hoya's stable, that you are I'm not sure if you're the only teenager he signed, but certainly the youngest that he signed at that time. Like, the idea of age seems important to you, being the youngest and doing things early in your career.
Yeah, I'm the youngest boxer signed with Oscar De La Hoya right now, so yeah, it's good to get all this experience so young, and I'm going to have tons of experience by the time I'm like 23 and 24, and that's when most people turn pro.
When did you know he was interested?
Well, I first went over to America in 2015. I went over for 2 weeks, and my management team, Sheer Sports, took me over to take a look at me. And I went around to a couple of the gyms. I went to Freddie Roach's Wildcard gym and Pullman's gym, and I sparred, and I did really good. So then they took me out the following summer for 3 months, and I was still only 16 at that age, and I sparred some big names like Jesse Magdaleno, and I was only 16. He's world champion now. So I did really well then, and then Golden Boy, that's when Golden Boy noticed me. So they said, we'll sign you when you're 18, so that's when I signed.
Happy days. So were you going over to the States at that point off, you were paying for it yourself, your family were paying for it yourself, off your own back as sort of like an audition, or was it funded? Or
no, it was my management team,
okay,
Sheer Sports, yeah, they funded all of it, yeah. So I've got a great team behind me, and they're doing really well for me, and they're pushing me in the right direction. Yeah,
like, you're obviously signed up with them as well, Stevie, Sheer Management, so like, they seem to not only care about the bottom line, they don't care about turning you guys into commodities that will make a lot of money for them. They care about developing you as human beings and looking after you, basically.
Yeah, they look really well after me and Aaron. Everything's there for us. Like, we have apartment and all sorted for us. So we also have a great coach as well, Courage Tijabala. And he's a really good coach. He's big as well. He's but the same height as us, and we need that. You know, when we're in the pads and not a big lad to be able to hold them for us.
That's you, Steve. He was a heavyweight, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's a heavyweight. 30 fights, 26 wins, and he was a hard hitter, so he was.
How good a trainer is he?
Yeah, he's really good. He's very smart and technical, and we really take them. So he's strong. He's very good in the pads as well. He's smart.
So basically, am I right in saying that you've had 2 full-time trainers in your life, your father and Courage Tijabala?
Yeah.
How similar are they?
Yeah, they both think very alike.
Yeah.
My dad as well, he's been training us our whole life, so him and Courage is looking after us. So both of them do different things with us. And they work together, and they're a really good team.
Yeah.
Work well together.
I wanted to ask you about this. So you're light welterweight. So say, Aaron, if we talk about you, I think you're 6'1".
6'1", yeah.
That's quite tall for a light welterweight.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's very tall.
Very tall.
Well, not very, but tall. Like, most people at that weight would probably be like 5'10".
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like, so at what point? Like, obviously we can see the strength and conditioning here, and we can see from any boxer really, once they get into their 20s, you mentioned having 15 fights under your belt or something by the age of 23, when you start to build up, as they call, man strength and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Is that even a factor for you? Because, like, we've seen some of your knockouts, we've seen that power is there, even though some people might not see it in weigh-ins or whatever it may be, like that you actually have that, and that the idea of your body shape isn't actually what dictates how much power you have.
Yeah, my last fight there, I dropped the guy with a body shot, and that was just...
Yeah, I have the footage here, actually.
Yeah, and it was just the placement of the shot, you see. Once you hit the right spot, they'll go down. But in another few years, once I get my man strength, that's when I'll really start shining through. But
you're still able to do this, so we're going to get... we've seen him go down there, and I think we might get a replay of it in a sec. Talk us through this here. So you obviously get the left in there at that point. Do you see an opening in his stance and you think straight away that's an opportunity to finish him, or are you actually surprised by the fact that he goes down?
No, because when you're fighting people like that, when you hit them with the headshots, they don't really get hurt. too much. It's the body shots that really hurt them, and that's something that we've been working on in the gym over this past year, is the body shots. And once you go to the body, they'll just fall, and it showed in that fight that it really worked.
You say that you're very tall for light welterweight. How can you use your height as an advantage?
I have a long reach too, and a lot of people were comparing me to Thomas Hitman Hearns. When I met Mickey Ward that time, and he seen some of my footage, that's what he said to me. I'm like him, and I get good leverage behind my punches, and that's what I have to do, is just keep my reach and get good leverage behind the long arms. And
how do you manage to build that up? Is that something that you have naturally, do you feel, getting that leverage, or is it something that you can teach and develop later in life?
Yeah, it's something that Courage has been teaching us in the gym. Just a good solid jab as well, and just going behind the jab, and the combinations will come.
How much does Courage put you in the ring together, sparring?
Yeah, well, we work a lot with each other, and then especially coming up to fights, when Aaron's fighting, maybe the week or two before, we get good sharp sparring with each other, so it's really sharp. Both of us work with each other, and it's good safe sparring instead of sparring out of the gym, just in case you get a cut or anything, so it's good leading up to a fight.
Absolutely, you can keep your secrets in-house as well.
Yeah, working things, but we do that as well during the week. We do school combat with each other, we practice different things, and then we go into the gyms and spar. We practice the stuff that we were doing.
You've mentioned the comparison between yourself and Hitman Hearns, which is quite well put out there at the moment. What about yourself? What are the comparisons you've been hearing?
Well, it's similar to Aaron as well.
Yeah.
They're calling me the Hitman now, so...
Who's more like Tommy Hearns here?
I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see when we get into the ring. Well, when I get into the ring as well, see. But I like to be aggressive as well and use my long reach and hit in hard shots. Try to knock them out as well.
Yeah. When it comes to that aggression, is that something as well that that Courage is working on with you? Is he teaching you, I guess, to be tactical boxers as well as building up the natural skill set that's required to kind of go to the very top?
Yeah,
he is.
Working on both, like working on power punches and not getting hit. So that's the main thing: hit and not get hit in the game. Come out good and safe, and not take any punches. So that's the main thing, I think, not get hit.
Yeah, it's pretty simple when you put it in those terms. We're going to finish up with a couple of images of like the incredible array of people you've met over the years. Just one last thing. I presume living in Santa Monica as young men is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's unreal. Actually, we met Adam Sandler in Santa Monica, so we did. We were just walking down the street, and then Stephen heard someone whistling behind him. And he looked around and he said, "There's Adam Sandler." And straight away, just whipped out the phone to get a picture with him.
Have a conversation with him?
Yeah, we were talking to him for a couple of minutes, and his bodyguard was actually from Ireland.
All right.
He was, yeah, and he seemed to have a keen interest in boxing too.
Do you know who you guys were?
He didn't know who we were, but like we told him we were. I was signed with Golden Boy Promotions, and he seemed like, yeah. And then later on that day, when we were coming back from the gym, we were pulling into the alley, to park at the apartment, and we seen him driving out, and my dad pulled down the window and had another conversation with him. So
right, okay.
Seen him twice in one day. It's unheard of, like.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just bumping into these people randomly.
And then we met Kendrick Lamar too at the gym.
Yeah.
So
we may as well get the picture up of Kendrick now. There's a couple of images of Kendrick Lamar actually. This is the one really that kind of went all around the world and back here, and I think people kind of sat up and took notice for a moment. It was so what was he like?
Oh yeah, he's very sound, yeah, really nice guy, and yeah, we met him, that's the first time we met him at the gym, and he watched me and Stephen spar too, and then afterwards we were talking to him, and he had a keen interest in boxing as well. And
that's your dad on the left and Courage on the very left, isn't it?
Yeah, that's them, yeah.
And the Monaghan flag on the right, most importantly.
Yeah, and who would have thought you'd see Kendrick Lamar beside the Monaghan flag? And that there was just before my fight. He came in to wish me luck, so he's a really nice guy.
Is he?
Yeah.
Big boxing fan?
Yeah.
Are you a big fan of Kendrick?
Yeah, like
Better say that after you've met him now.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Like it must be mad just thinking that you've come from a relatively small place, albeit an extremely famous place in Monaghan when it comes to producing boxers, to within a couple of years living in Los Angeles and pursuing a dream. And not only are you pursuing the dream is so evident and it's right there in front of you. You've signed for a promotions company run by one of the most famous combat sports athletes of all time. You're living in one of the most famous areas when it comes to celebrity culture of all time. It's not bad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's
Unbelievable. Like.
Yeah.
But, let's roll through some of the other pictures. We've got De La Hoya with you, Stevie, here first. And, of course, we've got a picture with you, Aaron, with Oscar as well. What's he like?
Oh, yeah, he's a great man. He gives me great advice as well after every fight, and he's been to all my fights as well. So I've always watched him growing up, and he's one of the best fighters out there. And him, Marvin Hagler, and Mike Tyson's are the three styles I try to get into my style, but he's one of the main ones.
What is it about that style that you try and implement?
His jab and his combinations. Yeah, he had a great jab, so he did, and his combinations were unreal.
And would you be watching a lot of Tyson, Hagler and De La Hoya videos?
Yeah, growing up I always used to watch all them old footages of them, and I still do to this day. And to have Oscar on my team's unbelievable, and the good sound supportive advice he gives me too is...
What sort of advice?
Just like the jab is key and all that type of stuff, and once you can land the jab, the combinations will come, stuff like that.
I see Dana White's had a pop at him over the last couple of days. Is he trying to make his way into the MMA arena or something like that?
Don't really know too much about that. Like.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a war of words at the moment, as tends to be the case. You mentioned Lomachenko there, Stevie. We've got a picture of you with him. Is this, I dare say, the toughest sparring session you've ever put down? Like, obviously there's a bit of a difference there in terms of style, in terms of height, in terms of weight. What's he like to be up against in the ring?
Yeah, it was unbelievable to share the ring with Lomachenko. It was like a game of chess. The first couple of rounds is really technical. It took him a while. He couldn't really figure me out with my long reach and all. And I had to box him in southpaw as well, my opposite stance. So we're looking southpaw sparring. So I said I'll spar him.
Right.
I changed stance and...
So there's like an array of people in the gym. You volunteered basically to work against them.
I was there the week before sparring, you see, and then they seen me and they said, do you want to spar with Lomachenko? And I said, yeah, go for it. And then we went back the next week and sparred with him and did 5 rounds.
And you held your own by the sounds of things. The way you're talking there, it sounds like it went pretty well.
Yeah, it went good, yeah. It was very technical spar though. It was really good. I learnt a lot from it. You couldn't ask for better sparring, like it's unbelievable.
Yeah, we'll roll on to the next image here. It is the man of the moment, really. It's the two lads with Tyson. Oh, that's Amir Khan. Tyson Fury as well. We have a picture of who's a bit more of the man of the moment. I'm sure you watched the fight against Wilder recently. How incredible, from like the expertise you've built up. Thankfully, you haven't hit the canvas too many times in your short career as amateurs or professional just yet. But what he did in that 12th round against Deontay Wilder, can you put into words what that takes?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I don't know how he got up from it, but it just shows how much will he had to get up from it. It was an unbelievable shot that he took, and he's a really nice guy as well. Yeah, we were talking to him in the gym in the wild card, so he was watching us train and that, so it was good to get talking to him.
Who's the best heavyweight in the world right now, in your opinion?
It's a hard one to call, but
it is.
Yeah, the Joshua and Fury and Wilder, them's the main 3 at the minute, but we'll find out anyway, I'd say, in the next year who is.
You sure will. What about pound for pound? Do you have a favourite boxer or someone you deem to be the best? Like, I think you said Lomachenko in that tweet is the best pound for pound boxer in the world. I'm not sure, do you share that opinion?
Yeah, I think Lomachenko, either him or Canelo.
Yeah.
Yeah, either one of them.
Your stablemate.
Yeah.
Have you met Canelo?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, not yet, no.
So that's another one off the list. That's your goal for 2019 now, is to get a picture with Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
You've met one of the Klitschko's as well. I think these are mostly from your Twitter account, Stevie. Liverpool jersey on there, Vitali in the middle, obviously. We've seen Kendrick. Adam Sandler, you mentioned Adam Sandler. Here's the actual picture that you got with him. And finally, Andre 3000.
Oh, yeah.
What's he like?
Yeah, he's a really nice guy too. I was just training at Iron Gym in Santa Monica, and there he was training as well. I got a picture with him. He's a real nice guy too.
You've got to brush up on your Outcast and your Kendrick for the next couple of weeks, and make sure you're big fans heading into the new year. Yeah. It's been great to catch up with you. You said you're training at the moment. Like, is it going to be pretty much every day bar Christmas Day, or is it all the way through Christmas, or what's your schedule like?
Yeah, we're training away at the moment. We're in maintenance mode right now.
What does that mean?
Where we're training twice a day.
Okay.
Over in America, we train 3 times a day.
Right.
So we do. So we did a run before we came up here, and now we'll train later on when we get back.
Just with your dad out the back of the house, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the back of the gym, we'll do a boxing session. So, and then once we get back into Los Angeles, we'll be full on training camp mode, and back off where we left off.
And when can we expect? I know if there's plans, you're not allowed to announce them. Do you know? You said February.
Yeah, we're hoping at the end of February that I'll be making my debut.
Nice one.
Yeah, so it'll be very exciting.
What about yourself, Aaron?
I have no date yet, but we're looking sometime in March.
Are you gonna come? So when you come back in the studio to us in 1 year's time, are you both going to still be undefeated? Well, you'll have started your career.
Yeah.
I like that confidence. Lads, it's been great to meet you. Great to catch up, and congratulations on everything. It's great to see 2 lads from Monaghan doing so well abroad and representing Ireland. Keep it up, and best of luck for 2019.
Thanks very much.
Great to be on.